Our montage tells you it's that time of evening when we bring you another Jamaica magazine. So glad you could join us. I am Theodore Henry. In today's show, we continue our 2016 review of achievements within government ministries. Plus, information on how to adopt a child and how to engage children with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Please stay with us.
Violence against women and girls is a human problem, not just a woman's problem. It's a problem for men too. Gender violence takes many forms, including sexual assault, domestic violence, relationship abuse, sexual harassment, and sexual abuse of children. The magnitude of ongoing violence against women and children in our country is cause for alarm. We can end the violence. It requires all of us to end the violence. I call on all our men and women in Jamaica to take a stand. And men, especially, must get involved in this movement to create a better world for their daughters, their mothers, their sisters, their aunts, their uncles, their fathers, their sons, and for themselves. Let's protect and reassure. Let's unite to end gender violence.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, January 19. The United States government has resumed the authorization process for firearm export licenses for Jamaica. That was revealed in a statement from the U.S. Embassy yesterday. It indicates that in consultation with the embassy in Kingston, the U.S. State Department will be considering each case on its merits. The release also asserts that exports bound for Jamaican security forces have not been delayed at any point. The embassy says it's working with the Ministry of National Security and the Firearm Licensing Authority to identify opportunities to jointly improve the firearm licensing and registration process. It identifies steps that can be taken immediately. They include prioritizing the destruction of confiscated weapons, ensuring up-to-date ballistics data is available to the Forensic Science Laboratory, and improving accuracy of record keeping. The issues are to be jointly reassessed in 6 months. The Regional Drug Law Enforcement Training Center, Red Track, will be expanded to accommodate the demand for courses in crime-fighting intelligence. The institution operates under the Ministry of National Security. It provides training for local authorities and other Caribbean countries on how to combat multinational crimes such as drug and human trafficking, money laundering, and cybercrimes.
Red Track's courses are more often than not oversubscribed. More often than not. We have to be turning away people and scheduling them and lining them up.
The director and principal says the expansion will address the lack of space and allow for more persons to enroll in the institution.
And that is to put another floor on top of Red Track, which will give us more room so that we can have 2 courses running at the same time and therefore churn out more persons.
Major George Benson was speaking at a recent JIS think tank. He says bids for construction are being analyzed to get the development on the way. The number of Jamaicans who gained employment through the United States Hotel Work Program increased by 19%, or 300 additional jobs in 2016. Labor and Social Security Minister Shahini Robinson says that last year, 2,300 Jamaicans were placed in U.S. hotel jobs, compared to 1,927 in 2015.
Last year's figures reflected the highest number of workers participating in the hospitality program since the impact of the 2007-2008 global recession, which did reduce job opportunities in the market. This year, projections are for the upward trend to continue as the ministry welcomes several new employers.
Minister Robinson was addressing a breakfast meeting in Montego Bay recently with a number of U.S. hotel employers. The ministry has been engaging hotel employers during the week January 16 to 20, seeking employment opportunities under the Overseas H-2B Hotel Workers Program. The employers, who are from Colorado, North Carolina, and Michigan, are seeking to recruit 260 employees for their companies. The National Works Agency, NWA, says the authorities will be making more traffic flow changes along Mandela Highway to facilitate the road project taking place.
Over the next several months, persons will see changes at different times in terms of the use of the roads. We are right now constructing a couple of service roads that we are going to be putting traffic onto at some point to facilitate the construction of the bridges that we are going to be doing. And so persons should be on the lookout for these things over the next 12 months or so.
NWA's Communications and Customer Service Manager says the changes will continue to facilitate 2 lanes of traffic flow in both directions. The number of lanes on the Mandela Highway is being expanded from 4 to 6 under a $64 million project. The work also includes lifting sections of the road, improvements to the drainage system, and installation of a solid jersey barrier to replace the median. Mr. Shaw says that the work, which started in August 2016, is now 25% complete, and it should be done in 24 months. And finally, it is now mandatory for taxpayers in the medium earnings category to file their GCT tax returns electronically. The requirement took effect on January 1 and applies to taxpayers with annual sales of $150 million to $1 billion and those with annual tax payments of $30 to $500 million. Their GCT returns will no longer be accepted at tax offices and must be filed via Tax Administration Jamaica's online portal at jamaicatax.gov.jm. TAJ says it has implemented several strategies to help these individuals or entities meet the January 31 deadline for filing their December 2016 returns. E-tax spots are now available at all revenue service centers, allowing taxpayers to file their returns online while getting on-site technical support to e-file. Business persons may also contact the Taxpayer Education Unit at any tax office to request an e-session, where TAJ personnel will visit their place of business and train staff on the filing process. Taxpayers may also access an easy-to-use how-to guide for e-filing of consumption taxes on the tax portal at jamaica.tax.gov.jm. This phase of the mandatory e-filing requirement is in keeping with TAJ's continued focus to develop a more efficient tax system. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
A healthy and educated people living in a clean, natural environment, reducing crime, improving the justice system and governance, building a prosperous economy. It's not just a vision, it's reality. Learn about the plan. Join the vision.
My country, Jamaica, has a rich heritage and is very unique. If we all pull together, we can make it the place of choice to live, work, raise family, and to do business.
For more information on Vision 2030, call the Planning Institute of Jamaica or visit vision2030.gov.jm, your parish library, school library, or the Jamaica Information Service.
Let's revisit 2016 for a roundup of achievements in another government ministry.
(2016) was the year for major growth in the agriculture sector. The largest came in the July to September quarter.
This ministry, which combines business and agriculture, confirming our commitment to the notion that agriculture is big business. This is the ministry that is going to increase the level of growth in the country, on whom everyone has to rely.
Growth in the year was complemented by a downward trend in the country's food import bill. 0.7% or a $2.4 million reduction was registered for the period January to May 2016. Data on export revealed an increase of almost 20% for the same period. The Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries targeted key areas to drive growth and productivity during 2016. These included getting farmers to operate through production and marketing organizations and benevolent societies, and providing inputs and marketing support for the Import Substitution Program, the Eat Jamaican campaign, and the Onion Development Program. Support was also given to farmers to increase production and productivity. Cash and grants valued at $1.1 billion was allocated to the Irish Potato Expansion Program to meet the target of supplying 100% of local demand.
The Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries has committed to contribute by direct cash injection $48.3 million to the provision of crop care and input supply, but over $700 million in productivity support.
Farmers on the Plantain Garden River Agro Park in St. Thomas were also given inputs to produce Irish potato on 100 acres of land, and access to farming equipment and input was made more affordable with the removal of general consumption tax from selected items. The provision was made through the amendment of the General Consumption Tax Act.
The current list of zero-rated items for the sector is too limited. Our vision for agriculture is bigger, and we must empower our farmers to enter the modern era.
The Agriculture Minister also made provisions to remove the rate of special consumption tax payable on alcohol used in the manufacturing process.
This is consistent with our pro-growth strategy as we attempt to attract investment in the two most important economic areas of our country, the manufacturing and the agricultural sectors.
Production was also encouraged at the school level with the relaunch of the National School Garden Program. Over in Portland and Clarendon, lands were earmarked for production under the AgroParks initiatives in Springs Garden, Ebony Park and Springs Plain. Mitigation measures were put in place to get farmers back on track following the destruction of crops from fire and flood rains. Farmers in Portland, St. Mary and St. Andrew were assisted with seedlings and fertilizers. Under the Fisheries Division, the levy placed on each pound of exported conch was reduced by 25 US cents for the 2016 season. This is to encourage expansion of business by exporters and development of the conch industry. A micro, small and medium enterprise MSME thematic working group was established to coordinate and monitor MSME-related strategies and actions. Duties of the group included providing practical data on the operations of the MSME sector.
So we must have a promotion of an enabling environment. And by an enabling environment, everybody must be plugged into the same set of data.
A MSME office was created as a central unit to implement and monitor MSME and entrepreneurial policy. It also coordinates initiatives across ministries and government. In addition, MSMEs were assisted in their approach to angel investors for financing. And the sector also benefited from institutional capacity building, training, and mentorship under the Regional Entrepreneurial Commercialization Hub, REACH.
My mission is to elevate the MSMEs to a formal and structured sector in the Jamaican economy and to accord them the dignity they deserve as critical contributors to national building.
When criminals disagree, they seek revenge. Murder, arson, rape, whatever causes terrible suffering. It doesn't matter who gets hurt. Women, children, and the elderly, they are the main targets. Don't support the criminals. Don't cover up for them. Don't take their money. Take a stand now for the right of our women and children to be free from fear and abuse. Silence brings violence.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
We are halfway into the month of January, and if you are still deciding what you can do to make a difference in someone's life, why not consider adopting a child? Let's start the conversation.
Sanya in here, and Arsenal score again in injury time.
Arsenal. Yes.
It's Alexander Hleb who got a last-gasp goal.
Come here, darling. I have something important to discuss with you.
What's so important? Don't you see it's time for me to watch football?
I know, but it's something that's been bothering me for a while now, and I want to talk about it.
Okay, here I am. What's so important?
Well, I've been thinking about adopting a child. What do you think?
What? Why you want to adopt a child? We already have a child, and we're both young enough to have others.
I want more biological children, but there are so many kids out there that needs the love and support of a stable family.
That's true. You know, I never really thought about it. You know, I could love a child if it's not my biological child. But I would need some more information though.
I know. We can go to the adoption board tomorrow and ask them about the process.
Okay, let's do that. And maybe soon we'll bring our next son, daughter home.
Okay, thanks.
Changing the life of a child for the better should be the business of all Jamaicans. We can change our world by opening our hearts and our homes to children in need.
Adoption, a legal process by which a person becomes a lawful member of a family to which they have no biological connection. In Jamaica, the Adoption Board is responsible for this process, acting on powers contained in Section 5 of the Children Adoption Act.
So, who can adopt a child, and what categories of children can be adopted?
Okay, persons who are living in Jamaica or consider Jamaica to be their home can, and are age 25, can adopt an unrelated child. If they are age 18 and over, they can apply to adopt a relative. And the children who can be adopted also are children who are given up to the agency to be placed for adoption, or children who are abandoned. Some of the children at Glen Hope Nursery who were left on buses, were left on the streets, etc. They were totally abandoned. Those children can be immediately put up for adoption. Or some of the children who are here at the facility and they do have parents, those parents who have neglected to attend to them and keep in touch with our agency, we can take the matter to the courts and ask them to dispense with those parents' consent to adopt their children.
And so, can foreigners obtain a license to adopt a child?
Yes, in fact, we do have quite a number of foreigners who apply to us for a license to adopt Jamaican children. We have some countries that fall under Section 24 of the Children Adoption Act, and these countries are Sweden, Denmark, Canada, United States, UK, all Commonwealth countries.
Is there a fee to be paid for adopting a child?
No, adoption matters are done free by the Child Development Agency. We have the processing part is worked by the agency, and our courts throughout Jamaica do the legal part. And it's all free of charge.
Oh, that's wonderful. So if I, for example, wanted to adopt a child, what exactly would be the steps that I would have to take before that can happen?
Alison, you would need to contact one of the offices of the Child Development Agency. We have offices in each parish. And you know, we have 14 parishes. So you can contact one of these offices to start the process. You also can go on our website and download information on adoption, which would save you a telephone call or a visit to the office in the initial stages.
Oh, that's wonderful, because I see some beautiful children, and I'm sure that a lot of Jamaicans and persons from other parts of the world would like to start the process. Thank you so much, Miss Marjorie, again, for having us in your home.
You are most welcome.
When you complete the adoption of a child, you become the legal parent of that child. So all legal rights of the biological parents are transferred to you permanently.
If you want to know more about adoption, contact the Child Development Agency at 48 Duke Street in Kingston or call them at 948-7206 or 948-7067.
This is one time we don't want you to laugh.
Staying safe on the road is a serious thing.
Mr. Taxi driver and bus driver, take time, man. People, so one-stop driver and come off.
Cyclists, motorcyclists, pedestrian, all road users using the head.
Only if you use cell phone and drive. No, man.
Idiot thing that.
Road safety is no laughing matter.
Because we want you to be around
and laughing with us for a long time.
A message from the National Road Safety Council and National Health Fund.
Up next, the Ministry of Education's drive to ensure learning among students with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Welcome to our discussion on attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. With me is Education Officer in the Special Education Unit in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Mrs. Christina Addington. Welcome, Mrs. Addington.
Thanks for having me.
The ministry has established a student support team to assist students that are diagnosed with ADHD, as well as providing a learning environment tailored to their needs. What exactly is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder?
Well, Joey, as stated in the name, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is a behavior disorder, and its core symptoms are inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. The disorder, for some unknown reason, is more prevalent in boys than girls. And the disorder is a common disorder, and we have up to 10% of the children being diagnosed as having attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
So how does it manifest itself?
With students who are diagnosed with this disorder, we find that their inattention causes them in the classroom to not maintain focus for long periods of time. They are often daydreaming. Their hyperactivity causes them to be what they call restless, always fidgeting, squirming, can't sit down. Impulsivity. They're the ones who are always blurting out the answers, can't wait to take their turns, and always getting into little squabbles because of the impulsivity. They tend to act and then think about it after.
So how does ADHD affect the student's ability to learn?
Based on some of the characteristic features which I said, we know that it is normal child development allows for the children to be very active and not sitting down. But when it is chronic and when it is affecting their academic life and their social life, then they're usually referred for a diagnosis to be made. So if the inattention is way more than is expected for the level of the child's development, we don't expect a 3-year-old to sit down for 20 minutes. But a 10-year-old should be able to sit down for 20 minutes. So, we look at child development and see what is atypical about the development, and then the children are referred because we see the signals. They're referred for a diagnosis to be made.
How is a diagnosis made of ADHD?
For a diagnosis to be made, what happens? The diagnosis is made by a medical practitioner or a psychologist. It is not a single test that is done, but a number of rating scales are done, are administered, and important to note is the fact that information is gained from both the academic setting, that's the school, and the social setting, so the home. So information is gained, is analyzed based on the scores from the checklist, then the diagnosis is made. It's important to note, as I said, that for the child to be diagnosed, the behaviors have to be observed across the settings. So it can't be that it's just being experienced at home and not in school, or at school and not at home. It has to be evident across the settings before a diagnosis, a concrete diagnosis is made.
Do the parents come in
For the most part, yes. We embrace an inclusive approach to education. However, we find that with certain disabilities, if they are severe, then the children are not in the regular system, but they are in a special ed institution. Most children with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, they are educated in the mainstream. And so what happens is through the special education unit and the special needs coordinators in the regions, we go out and we do presentations at schools. We also work with parents, so we work with the PTAs, we make presentations, we help parents to understand how is it that I can better help my child at home to cope and to be a success. Also, very importantly, as it relates to national examinations, if the relevant information is sent in, the documentation is sent in with registration, for all national exams, accommodations are granted to children diagnosed with ADHD. So we grant accommodations ranging anywhere from extra time to preferential seating to a prompter, depending on the severity of the diagnosis. And the extra time is a standard of 15 minutes, additional per hour that is given for the children. Preferential seating may be that the child is placed at the front of the room so that the invigilator, having noted on the paper that the child has a challenge, is able to give an eye to ensure that the child is kept on task. In more severe diagnoses, the child is assigned a prompter, and the responsibility of that prompter is solely to keep the child on task. So if the child is daydreaming or wandering off in his mind, just a gentle tap or nudge to help the child refocus.
Mrs. Christina Addington from the Special Education Unit in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information shared some vital information with us on how to effectively deal with children who are diagnosed with ADHD. And we want to thank her for joining us today. Thank you, Mrs. Addington.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And until next time, see you around.
We close today's show with an uplifting thought from Willie Nelson. Once you replace negative thoughts with positive ones, you will start having positive results. So turn those I can'ts into I cans and those procrastinations into getting things done right away. Be positive and make things happen this year. Another Jamaica magazine comes your way tomorrow, but you can always stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. Keep sending your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the production crew, I'm Theodore Henry. Take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.